another episode of With the Chiefs.
Wait. Man, I need more rest.
I hope I've got your last name right there.
It's a very good pronunciation.
You should know better than that now, Donald.
I know. Welcome back to another episode of With the Chiefs. Episode 52. This week, we're fortunate enough to be joined by Morgan Lindqvist, who's an incredibly talented ultra trail runner and a bit of a local legend around the Australian running scene. Throughout his running career, Morgan's performed incredibly well with a number of accolades to his name that anyone in the sport would dream of having. This includes winning 2020 Kosci, first place at Buffalo Stampede 100 last year in 2022, third place at UTA in 2020. He's run at UTMB and a few other European trail ultras, as well as many more incredible performances. Recently, Morgan came 8th place at 6 foot and ran a few kilometres with me before leaving me in the dust. Today we're just going to be catching up with Morgan and chatting about his 6 foot experience and training block, as well as his running journey along the way and a few other tips and tricks that he's got to share. So welcome to the show, Morgan.
Thanks, Guy. Guys, it's good to be on, and thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining.
Our pleasure. Usually we kick off the show just with a bit of training talk to see where everyone's been up to with their training. So I don't know if you want to just run through the highlights of the last week for how your running's gone.
Yeah, sure. I mean, we did 6 foot 2 weeks ago, so I've been taking it quite easy. Lots of rest days. So yesterday was my first longer run, really, 2 hours. And then I did I was supposed to do 4 hours this morning, but I got a bit cooked at 3.5 hours. So I called for help and I got a pickup near home.
Yeah. Was everything all right? Or is it just...
It's the humidity. I didn't bring enough water. It's so humid in Sydney these days. So yeah, I need to prepare a little bit better for next longie, for sure.
Yeah, wow. And are you training for anything at the moment, or?
I might do UTA 100. I'm not sure. I haven't decided yet. But UTMB later in the year is the A race for the year. So I was there 5 years ago, and it didn't go too well. I was way too new to run a mountainous 100-miler over there. So hopefully this year will go a little bit better.
Yeah, awesome. How'd you go the first time around? Were there any sort of key learnings that you took from it?
Too many learnings to mention, but afterwards I was thinking I did this mistake, I did that mistake, but I was just too new to running. I think it's the whole approach and how to deal with those tough situations. So I did smash my quads and walk the last 60K basically, but that was the main thing that went wrong.
Yeah, awesome. What about you, Smitty? How's your week been going?
I had another quite a week, but I got in a good session on Tuesday. I was out with Arthur on Tuesday. We sort of did a mix like between hills and a threshold. So it was like the session was 6 by 1 minutes with like a 4K threshold in the middle, and then another then a few more hills at the back of it. But yeah, definitely a lot of Arthur's training seems to be paying off. In that threshold, yeah, very, very quick. But that was a good session. I think the mix of hills was nice with the effort. It kind of reminds me of our breakfast point sessions, Dom, in a way, where you just like power up the hill and then go into, I can't remember what we used to do in terms of like how long the loops were. But probably wasn't 4K though, was it?
No, I think it was maybe 2K max. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. And then sort of didn't run much until Friday again, where I just ran easy around the bay. And then yesterday did a session at Parkrun again at Rhodes, where we did 2 by 5K. So we did like sort of the first 5K at a tempo effort, and then sort of tried to keep it consistent. So I think we ran like 17:30 for the first one. And then idea was to just keep it consistent. But we ran 16:59. So it was still pretty. It was pretty solid, and I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
And today I haven't run yet. I might get out after this interview for a bit of a shakeout, but probably won't run too long. But yeah, still in the middle ground of just taking it a bit easy at the moment.
Yeah, definitely. Sounds like a pretty good session yesterday, though.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, the 2 sessions in there were solid for the week, but there's just not a lot of not heaps of running going on in between. But that's all right. I still enjoyed the sessions.
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, what about you, Dom? A bit's been happening with you.
Yeah, I think, coming off 6 foot, I had signed up for this 6-hour race, but it was kind of like a bit of an afterthought, and I don't think I was really in the right headspace to do it. The goal was to run like 50 Ks hard and try and go sub 3:10 to make an Australia team, possibly. But I think that I just went into it with the wrong mindset, and everyone else in the race is running for 6 hours, so I'd had no one else to run with really, and just had, I don't know, all the excuses in the world on the day just sort of got to me, and I ended up pulling out at 25 Ks. I think I came through about 20 seconds off the pace already, and was starting to go backwards. And yeah, I think I would have been better off just going in, having a go and doing my best for the whole 6 hours, rather than just trying to run a qualifying time with no one else. But it was pretty cool. They had the 48-hour track race out there as well, and Camille Herron, I think, broke the world record.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I think she's run like 430 Ks or something in 48 hours. It's just insane.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's a few laps around the track.
Yes, I was about to say. How do you get through that? That's crazy.
Yeah. So ran my heart 25 Ks hard, and then pulled out. It was a bit kind of shitty at myself, but oh well. I think that it was the right decision probably to just sort of get into the next training block and kind of get fit for the next race. But yeah, after that we stayed the night in Canberra, and the fire alarm in the hotel went off halfway through the night.
That's a classic.
Yeah, he kind of like reinforced my decision. I was like, oh, thank God I didn't run 6 hours. We drove back today, and it was all good. But yeah, not the race that I wanted, but still a good run regardless.
Was your body still really just not there, or was it more just like it was in an awkward spot mentally as well?
Yeah, I think just mentally, like 6 foot was what I was really looking to run well at, and what I was targeting. So I think that all my energy was focused towards that, and like when it got tough during 6 foot, I had that sort of energy behind me to push through and finish the race. Whereas going into this, it was just like I'll give it a go and see what happens. It started to get hard, and I just felt like I had all these excuses just piling up, and I wasn't able to put them aside and back myself to keep going. So ended up pulling out, but yeah, it was it wasn't ideal. The race day prep as well, we left at like 9:30 to get there for a 2 o'clock start, and Beck needed to go to the toilet a couple of times on the way up, so we ended up taking like a couple of detours into some random towns that took a bit longer than expected. And we got there with like 15 minutes to go, so I was kind of scrambling in a bit of a panic.
15 minutes.
Yeah,
that's not a lot.
Yeah. So yeah, I was already kind of feeling a bit rushed, and then it started raining, and I was like, oh, this sucks. And then they changed the direction that we were running like straight away pretty much. So then my watch was on the outside of the track and was saying I was running like 3:30s when I was only running like 3:45, 3:50 per K. So that was throwing me off. Like I didn't really know how I was going, and all these things just sort of started to pile up in my head, and I just ended up pulling out. But oh well,
That's all right. We'll forgive you, Dom. It's all good.
Yeah.
It's pretty close. It's a pretty close turnaround from.
Yeah, I think
this foot.
that as well. Like I just didn't have that self-belief that I'd had a good training block to do this race. So, but
Yeah,
on to the next one, I think.
yeah, for sure.
Anyways, talking about 6 foot, it'd be interesting to hear about Morgan's 6 foot kind of training block and how the race went. Yeah, how did the training block sort of go for you for this year, Morgan?
Yeah, it went pretty well. I think I started the year a little bit more unfit than usual. I was a bit delayed. I got COVID in December last year. Went on a 5-week holiday to Europe, eating pastries every day. So I stepped on the scale end of January. I was like, oh shit. I've never been this heavy for quite a long time. But I had a very good February. I've started to dabble in doubles now. So I got the mileage up quite high. I ran maybe 155, 160K weeks through February. So a good mileage, but it's just a month and then a bit of taper for 6 foot. So I don't think I was at my ideal fitness or the fitness I'm usually at that time of year, but I haven't raced for 6 months. So it's just good to be out there. It doesn't really matter. It's the first race of the season for me. So yeah, just enjoy it. Did good workouts, good long runs, and it's ready for race day. I felt well prepared, even though I'm a little bit behind, but that's okay. That's the way it is sometimes.
Yeah, definitely. Were there any sort of key workouts that you'd done in the lead up, or?
Luke said that earlier. I'm training with run course. I'm coached by Gary, and he often put these 6 by 1 minute hills in the program, and then a threshold, and then 6 by 1 minute hills. So that's a pretty good workout to get some fitness in the legs quickly. And I think I did a few of those, and yeah. Other than that, quite a standard workouts, maybe 10 by 800 and things like that.
Awesome. Yeah, it sounds like a good one. I think that, yeah, it's good to practice running on heavy legs, especially in 6 foot.
Yeah, and I live in not a mountainous area, but in Sydney North, it's pretty hilly. So every run I do has a lot of hills, and I can't really avoid them. So I get good elevation gains through the week, even without trying. So that helps as well on that course.
Yeah, and then so race day came around. How did the race pan out for you?
Yeah, I think we all know about what happened around 38K, but yeah, it was good before that. It was a little bit odd this year. We came down Nellis Glen, the quick guys in front, you included, Dom, just disappeared in front of me. And I actually ran alone from maybe 4K, 5K up to the top of Pluvi, and I didn't see another person. So that I'm not sure I ran as fast as I could. In the past, I've been running too fast to the river, like a lot of people, and then kind of slowly down the hill. So I thought, okay, I'm going to go a bit slower this year. Maybe in hindsight, I went a little bit too slow because I didn't see anyone else. But I got to the river feeling fresh, and I went up the long hills to Mini, and then up to Plury, where I catch another guy called Sean. That he was the guy I ran into you with. And he was way stronger on the flats than me. So every flat he pulled away, every hill I pulled away. And up on the Black Range, so it was really good running with him. But up on the Black Range, after a few K, he pulled away. And I was like, oh shit, I'm going to run alone again. But then he actually came back to me and said, oh, I got a bit carried away there. So I think he figured it's better we run together. And then we have a little battle at the end, maybe. So we came to the deviation where this new 4K loop was added. And instead of turning left, we turned right like we should. And we ran down this very long hill, and it felt like it took forever. And we started to question, like, is this really the right way? When should we turn around? And then we saw you there at the bottom, Dom. I was like, oh, yes, we're on the right path, which we absolutely weren't. So,
I was kind of pleased to see you as well. I was thinking, like, oh, I was not sure, am I on the right path? And I saw you guys behind me. I was like, oh, okay. Must
Yeah, two more guys. All right, at least we're three now. Yeah, so I think we passed you there, and we came to a few turns and really didn't have any idea where to go, but I think we just stayed on the main path, felt like the most logical path to go, and then suddenly went up on Caves Road. And I'm like, no way they're gonna let us run on the road. It's just, it won't happen. So that's when I realized we were lost. But we saw a trail next to the road. Okay, let's try this one. And at that stage, when you don't know where you are, you don't want to push in case you're going the wrong way and have to run back. So you're like,
Yeah.
should I run fast? Should I go slow? If it's the right path and I go too slow, then I'm going to lose time. So yeah, you have all these mind games going on. And then Dom, Sean, and I see these traffic controllers. I'm like, oh yeah, people, that's great. And we ask them, where should we go? And they had no idea. And then Sean asked, have you seen any other guys coming through? Oh yeah, they went that way, like straight up. Like, oh, that doesn't feel right. And these were the guys that also got lost and jogged on the road back. So if we would have followed them, we would have been even more lost. But I figure this is the road to back to Deviation, the Black Range campground. So we ran up that road, lots of intersections, no idea where to go. Again, should we run fast and get it done with, or should we just jog in case it's the wrong way?
Yeah. Did you have any gels and stuff with you then? I was kind of like worried about nutrition, like, oh shit, like how long are we going to be out here for? I'm totally unprepared, like I don't have anything on me.
Oh wow, yeah, no, I had you could have asked me, but I had a few gels. I think I even finished the race with one spare gel. So I drank the tailwind from the aid stations, but yeah, I had a few gels as well. And then I remember a car came up behind us, and we're like, oh, we'll ask that person if this is the right way. But they were too polite to actually come really close to us and overtake us. So it's like, come on, just pause us so we can ask you if we're on the right way. But they just kept the distance 30 meters back or something. So we started shouting, and yeah, they couldn't really hear us and we couldn't hear them. So yeah, it was not great, but I just want, at this stage, I just want to finish it. I just want to run and see where this road takes us. And thankfully we saw the back of the Deviation aid station, and the people there were as surprised as we were about coming that way. But finally we're back on track, and yeah, at that point we could start racing again. But it's always challenging when you've done a big detour or been lost or you don't know where to go. But finally we're back on track. So, and I knew with a course change we had, well, what could have been 5K left to go or something, 4K. Yeah. And at that point I just wanted to finish it. And I'm guessing you felt the same at that stage.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you had many other races when you've been lost before? Or?
No, I don't think so. Most races are pretty well marked. So there's been races where hikers or people deliberately changing markers, and that's not good. So I thought maybe that's what happened here. But yeah, no, it hasn't been that bad in another race, I think. Not that I remember. But yeah, usually after a while you only remember the good things. So.
Yeah, well, I think the rest of the race was really good. Like it was great to have, just all the aid stations every 2Ks pretty much to fill up your bottle. Yeah. And for the rest of it, it was really well marked. Like you knew exactly where you were going, which was kind of good because we knew like straight away, okay, this doesn't really feel right. I think we're off course. But yeah, oh well, we got there in the end. Yeah, but it was impressive to see like just how cool and calm you stayed in that situation. I feel like me and Sean were kind of panicking a little bit. I think maybe because we had spent ourselves a bit more in the first section of the course, so we were a bit tired and just frustrated at the run. But I'm glad you were there because it helped a lot to have you sort of just making the decisions for us almost, and yeah, putting our worries to bed a little bit.
Yeah, I'm not sure if you've done that bit of the course before, but I chatted along on the Black Range with Sean, and he said he had hiked it, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago or something. So he wouldn't remember. At least I've done 6 foot, I think it was the 5th time now. So I had a rough idea where this aid station should be somewhere in a general direction, and just find a road that leads us there. That was my thinking at that point.
Yeah, awesome. And I think that, yeah, you finished 8th, and that's pretty solid effort still.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, Sean, he was stronger on the flats, and when we came up to the station, he just disappeared. But thankfully, there were a few really steep hills at the end there, so I managed to pass him, and yeah, I think he came a few seconds after me in the end.
Yeah, awesome. Well, it sounds like, yeah, a pretty good experience regardless. Yeah, I guess moving on from 6 foot, how did your running journey all sort of start?
Yeah, it's been a while now. I think I've been 10 years on Strava, but I didn't really start running until maybe 2015. So before that, I did not 6 foot, Fitted to Surf, in the Harbor 10 because everyone else did it, and that was my running for the year basically. And then I'm not sure how I got into it really. I think I just started doing more and more, and I did maybe a half marathon, and back then I thought I was really good, really fast, at least when I compared to my mates who didn't run either. Like, maybe I'm good at this, and maybe I should keep doing it. So I started signing up for more events, and in 2015 I did my first marathon, and I thought that went well as well. And then somehow I discovered trail running on YouTube. I saw all these videos from trail running around the world in big mountains, and I had no idea you could do that, such a thing. But I thought it was really cool, and I went pretty much straight into long ultras and trail running from there. I did that for a couple of years, maybe 2016, 2015, 2016. I didn't do any speed work. I just ran every day basically, and got better and better. And then I quickly hit a plateau where I didn't improve much because I didn't do any speed work. And I started reading up more, and I think in 2016 that's when I got really hooked on reading and watching running videos on YouTube like everyone else, and I got inspired, and I structured my training more, and signed up for more and more events. And yeah, that's where my running journey started really, I would say in 2016.
Yeah, right. And you mentioned that you run with Run Crew at the moment. Did you start getting coached around then, or was it still sort of just writing your own program?
No, back then I did my own program. So 2016 I did UT 100 and 6 foot for the first time, and it went well. 2017 I got quicker. 2018 I barely got quicker at all. So okay, that's where I thought I hit my plateau. And the Run Crew guys and girls, they were winning races left, right, center. So I thought I'd give it a try. And yeah, and then 2019 I got a big PB in UT 100 again. That's when I finished 3rd. So yeah, I decided to stay with them. It worked well for me.
Yeah, awesome. And coming 3rd, that seems like a pretty big sort of breakthrough. Did you have many other sort of big results prior to that, or?
Not. I'd done UT. I was top 10 the 2 years before. Wow. But not on the podium, no. So that was probably the biggest race at that time.
Yeah, awesome. And then since then, I guess like Kosci was sort of the next step in the journey.
Yeah, well, in 2020, we know what happened, and we didn't have many choices. It was like the only race that was on in December in 2020. Everything else was canceled through the year. So it was a pretty good year. No one had raced for a while, and yeah, a lot of people wanted to sign up to it, and it's an invitation race, so maximum 50 people. So it's quite a competitive year.
Yeah. And had you run a couple of 100 milers then in the lead up, or?
No, I did. I done Human Havel, which is a 100 miler, and it's probably one of the easiest one around when it comes to trail running. It's pretty flat, good trails, and then I done UTMB, and that was it.
Yeah, wow. Did you walk into it thinking, okay, like I'm a shot to win this? Yeah, going to be up on the podium? Or?
No. I don't think many people have thoughts like that. It's such a long race, and I never done anything that long, and I mainly did it as well because it really scared me. Like 160K on the trails, that's fine. You get a lot of breaks. You're walking over these logs and jumping over rocks, that's fine. But 240K on the road where you don't have those kind of excuses to to take it easy. I mean, if you want to, it's just road, and that was the challenge. How would the body go with that pounding and yeah, using the same parts of your muscles for such a long distance.
How did it go? Well, how did it past like that's crazy distance. I didn't know it was 240 Ks. What past 100 miles was it? Did it change much or
No, up to 100 miles was okay, and then you get to this famous hill, Beloka Hill, which is super steep, super long hill, and that's where everyone has to walk. So I ran to that point at 160K, I think, and then walked up that hill. It was maybe 9-10 in the evening, and from there it was dark, and it got quite hard. And you have crew with you in a car, and they told me, hey, there's a 2K downhill up ahead, or 2K flat. I'm like, oh no, I have to run that. Please give me some uphills that I can walk. It's so much gentler on the body.
I can't even imagine.
Then
what? Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, about 184K. You get into Jindabyne, and from that up to Charles Pass, and because the summit is just uphill. So that was quite challenging to move your body after such a long time running.
Yeah. And when did you sort of hit the lead then?
At Perisher. So maybe 3 in the morning, 4 in the morning, maybe. And that was, I think it's around 200K or 190K or something. From Perisher, then to Charlotte's Pass, and then up to Summit and back to Charlotte's Pass. And it's such a long run, so you don't really think about the competition early on in the race. So much can happen. So who knows? Just run to your own feel and hope for the best, basically.
Yeah. Did that kind of spur you on a bit then? If you knew, okay, like I'm in the lead now, or it was still just sort of just doing your own thing, getting through it?
Doing my own thing, just finish it. At that point, it's hard to care. But when I did get up to the summit of Kosci, a guy, Grant Brisbane, he was maybe only an hour behind me, and I could see him from the summit coming up. So I didn't know he was that close, and that's where I got the competitive streak and ran down as fast as I could. So it took 220K of running till I felt like I had to run fast.
Jeez, that's crazy. Sounds like, yeah, such an experience. Would you do anything over 100 miles again, or?
Yeah, maybe. I would like to go back one day to coast and do it quicker. And I'm a little bit intrigued about these 24-hour track races as well.
Yeah, I reckon you're good at that. Yeah.
It's a big commitment to train for it and do it. So we'll see how it goes, but I am interested in it for sure.
Yeah, I guess when did you sort of become a father then as well? Like that seems like it would throw a bit of a spanner in the works in terms of of running and training. How do you go about managing that? And how old is your kids at the moment?
So he's two years and 1 month. So he was born 2 months after Kosci. So I got that big race release, and then I could take it easy the year after. Working from home mostly has helped a lot. So no commute, that wasting time on that. So I run less than I would commute to the work back and forth. That has helped. But the first 5 months in 2021 was quite difficult with sleep. Basically, I did not get a lot of sleep. I DNF'd UTA that year. 6 foot didn't go that great either. It was lots of walking. But it once he started sleeping through the night after 5-6 months, it got better at the end of 2021. And yeah, I just tried to do the best of it. Pretty much.
Yeah, awesome. Sounds like you've adjusted pretty well then. Aside from a bad sort of 6 months of really impacted running training. Is there any?
And I guess what I changed was to run mostly from home. So I used to go for run crew sessions at ES marks, but I do a lot of solo running these days to minimize the time I'll spend away. So all my runs basically start and finish from home just to minimize that away time. And on weekends, his naps are getting shorter, but he was napping, did a long lunch nap, and that's when I went out. And lots of activities that we do on the weekends. So that's, people might see a run at random times of the day, like 4 in the afternoon on a Sunday when it's 38 degrees. It's not the best time to run, but that's what I do, just because that's what suits best with our family life.
Yeah, geez. So you just have to be a bit more flexible in your training, I guess.
Yeah, and just find some time when to do it.
Yeah, awesome. I think that's pretty good tips for anyone who's pressed for time. You just got to make it happen.
Yeah, that's it.
And you've done some pretty incredible races and have been running for a while. Have you had to deal with any injuries along the way? Has anything sort of put you to the sidelines for any considerable amount of time, or?
No, I've been lucky in that sense, but I think I have all the niggles that everyone else has had, Achilles and ITB and whatnot. But this is not medical advice, but I tend to run through them. And when I do get niggles, I do a lot of physio work, this rehab work, which I forget when I feel good, but usually things comes good. I've been to a few physios over these years and sports massage, which helps a lot. So I haven't had anything that have taken me out for a considerable amount of time. I think the worst one was actually COVID last year. That when that hit me, that I never felt so bad running before for a few weeks. So
yeah, definitely. It's
that's a tough one.
Yeah, I feel like it really affects like your training levels and stuff like that. Like you just can't push as hard as you used to coming back from it. But I guess it affects everyone differently as well.
Yeah, and I try to read a lot of about a lot of physios and injury prevention and rehab, and it doesn't seem like there are that many injuries that you completely stop running from unless you have a stress fracture or something. If it's Achilles hurting, I don't think people often suggest to completely stop running, but ease off a bit, and and that's what I'm trying to do, see if it comes good, and fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. I guess, other sort of running lifestyle sort of topics that are always coming up. I think if you talk to anyone in running, they'll bring up a few of these topics and have their own 2 cents worth on them. Running shoe choice, have you got any favorite shoes, or what's in your shoe rotation at the moment?
Well, I want to try all the shoes, but it costs too much to buy them all. So I have a few favorites. I love the Nova Blast for everyday runs and long runs. I'm using the Invincible, the Nike Invincible for easy runs. I like the New Balance Rebel V2. I haven't got the V3 yet for grass workouts. I think it's an awesome shoe. It's so, you hold it and it feels like a toy almost, but when you run on it on grass, it's quite poppy, so that's cool. And Vaporfly for road racing. So it took a long time for me to get into super shoes. I thought, yeah, it might give you some running economy benefits, but if I drink a few beers less, then I save money and I get the same advantage. So it took a long time, but when I deliberated shoe choices for Kosci, everyone told me get the Vaporfly, and I did get them, and after that I was hooked on those carbon shoes.
Yeah, right. I think yeah, I was in the same boat. I thought like it was just a bit of a marketing spin, like it's just a shoe, it can't make that much difference. But yeah, putting them on for the first time was just crazy experience. Like it just felt like an absolute game changer.
Yeah, and even if it wouldn't make me faster, the feeling is so good. So yeah, why wouldn't I use the shoe that feels the best? And then on trail shoes, I would consider myself a trail runner, but I often use road shoes on trails when I'm out and about. Maybe if I go to the Blue Mountains for a 4-hour run and put on trail shoes. So I don't use them that often, and that means I don't buy that many, and I want to try all the shoes. But yeah, it's costs too much, unfortunately. So I stick with my trusted Hokas. I like the Challenger for a long time. For 6 foot, I use a Tecton, and I found them pretty good. I used the Speed Goats for Buffalo last year, and I can't say I feel the carbon plates in the Tecton really. If you ask me, I wouldn't be able to tell you if there are plates or not, but they're a lot lighter than the Speed Goat. So why not to feel quite similar? So yeah, I enjoy them for now.
Yeah, right. What were you wearing for 6 foot?
Oh, the Tecton X Hokas.
Okay. No.
Yeah, what did you wear?
Oh, I was in the Saucony Endorphin Pro, the carbon plated road running shoe. Yeah.
That is a trail race you definitely can wear road shoes for.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. Like, yeah, most of it's just like fire trail and stuff like that. So yeah, got away with it. I guess another topic that everyone's always raving about is diet. Have you got any particular diet tips or policies that you kind of follow?
Not many tips. My diet is what my partner cooks. So running is my meditation. That's my between work and home life. And my wife's thing to do is cooking. So she loves doing that, and I eat what she cooks. Basically, that's my
a good deal.
Yeah. I think I've tried supplements in the past, but when they run out and I forget to restock, then I go a few months without it, and I realized if I can't keep it consistent, then that was the point. And it feels like, I'm sure they're good, but for me, it feels like an extra tax in life to continuously buying this supplement. So I just stay with healthy food, and I run a lot, but you will never see me with a 6-pack, I think, even though I turn out 6,000 Ks a year, and it comes from eating just whole foods and home cooked food, basically.
What's some of your favorites? Some of the favorite home cooked meals?
Lots of pasta, and my wife has Chinese Malaysian background, so beef rendang and things like this.
Oh, beautiful!
Chicken curry.
Nice.
Awesome. What about Gels or coffee? Do you preference with those?
Well, I'm a coffee drinker. I'm not sure what it does to my performance, but yeah, start every day with coffee for sure. I did use a few gels at 6 foot because you never know what the dilution of tailwind is at the aid station. Is it too weak? Is it too strong? So just a few gels just in case. But I drink a lot of tailwind when I race. It's my main source of fuel. Kosci, I think 95% was just tailwind, drinking tailwind for 26 hours. At Buffalo last year, it was definitely only tailwind, no gels at all, anything, and that works well for me. I after 4 or 5 hours, I really can't chew on anything. It's like my body does not want to chew. It's so I prefer drinking energy.
Yeah, right. And gels, do you have anything that you sort of preference, like tailwind, or is it just whatever's available?
I do have the good gels, lemon. Yeah, I'm not sure why I prefer lemon, but same with tailwind is the lemon flavor. I think that's just for hours and hours. That's what I dislike the least. so it works for me. And the good gel salty watermelon for a bit of caffeine. It's good too for me.
Interesting. I think that, yeah, tailwind seems like a pretty good product. I think I agree. It's probably my go-to drink for sure. Yeah. What about another one that everyone's always sort of wanting tips or advice on is any other running sort of equipment like packs or a bladder or bottles or all those little kind of trail running gear choices. What's your setup at the moment?
It's the Salmon packs. So I find them very frustrating, the zippers. I think everyone that has used Salmon packs, the zippers break down very quickly if you forget to wash your pack straight after a run. I tried either packs, but I find the Salmon packs the most comfortable to wear over a long time. So even though the zippers are really bad, I weighing up that with comfort, I pick those packs. Usually the 12 liters for training. I can have the bladder in there, and the 8-liter ones for something like UJ or Buffalo. And then I have a 2-liter for shorter races than that.
Yeah, right. So it sounds like you've got like a pack for every occasion almost.
Yeah, and I tried to find the specials when they're on sale, and they come with 2 bottles. So I have a lot of soft flasks. So because I'm using Tailwind as fuel, I pre-mix them the day before and give them to my crews. And when I come into a aid station or crew stop, just swap the bottles and off I go.
Yeah, easy. Sounds like a smart way to get your bottles. Just buy a pack when it's cheap.
Yeah.
I was like, you Dom.
Yeah, that's a good tip for me.
I want the pack, I just want the bottles, but they are like $45 each if you buy them, standalone.
Dom just wants the discounts, regardless of what it is. Sorry, Dom.
So, any other gear or stuff that you sort of swear by, or?
No, that's pretty much it. So, I mean, for UTA, where you need to carry all that mandatory gear that I never use, like how often do you run with a rain jacket in Sydney, Australia? It might rain, but it's not that cold really. So while I bought a lightweight rain jacket 5-6 years ago, I actually never used it. It's just been in my pack with the rest of the stuff for that time.
Yeah.
So it's mainly the pack itself and the running shoes, of course.
Yeah, no worries. And I guess you've had like a pretty crazy running career so far. Is there any one race or moment that is your favorite and sort of sticks out the most to you?
We touched on it earlier, or more than touched on it. We talked a little bit about it, the Coast to Kosci. it's a really special race because you have your crew with you the whole time. You have to have a car, and you tell them or you ask them when to stop, and so you see them all day basically, and it just makes it like a really long Sunday run instead of running from checkpoint to checkpoint and be all alone for hours and hours. So that was a really great experience, and everyone's really friendly. So the other runners crew, they leapfrog you as well, and it's just a lot of encouragement from crew and runners. So that was really, really special.
Yeah, who was in your crew?
My partner started in the morning, and then she was alone for the first 106K where there was a checkpoint, and then two run crewmates from Sydney came down and took over from there.
Awesome. Sounds like, yeah, it'd be a pretty special sort of experience to share with them.
Yeah, and it was Rael as well. So I'd never met him before. So I met him first time after running 10 for 10 hours. And he was crewing for the rest of the night as well. So that was awesome.
Yeah, wow. That's, yeah, so cool. Sounds like, yeah, such a awesome experience, and really brings everyone in the running community together. Yeah, it's definitely an event that I'd like to do at some point in the future.
Yeah, I was going to ask, is that on the list, Dom?
Oh, one day, I think. Yeah, I don't know. It's seems a bit daunting though, running 240 Ks.
It's a long way.
Yeah.
It's less than 48 hours on the track.
Yeah, true.
And don't do as many loops, that's for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, yeah, 48 hours on the track just is a whole nother game. But I guess, yeah, wrapping up, yeah, thanks for coming on, Morgan. I don't know, Smee, did you have anything else you wanted to ask?
No, I think you covered off a lot of ground, Dom, and yeah, thanks, Morgan. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys. It's fun to be on.
Cheers. Best of luck with UTMB. We'll all be following you very closely.
Thank you.